This is Seth David from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, bringing to you another special screencast. This time we're talking about Active Collab. This is how I manage my tasks now. Education is power. Make an impact by learning more. Call me right now at 866-945-8070 for information about private education. We record the live session with you so you can review it as often as you like afterwards. Here's an exclusive for you at schoolofanswers.com. This is just for those of you who've subscribed to the newsletter. This is not going to be made available to the public. It's coming to you first, and then later on I will produce other content on this topic for the rest of the world. But as I mentioned in the newsletter that you received that should have led you to this video, I wanted to make sure that I'm giving you exclusive content that nobody else can get, or at least before anybody else can get it, as a benefit of being a subscriber on my newsletter. So this time we're talking about Active Collab. Active Collab had an older cloud version which I loved, and they reached out to me after they saw some videos of mine on the BQE software blog where I talked about Active Collab and specifically a use case for using it to manage your legal case files in the cloud. And they reached out to me and said, hey, would you take a look at our new interface for our cloud-based application and let us know if you think the same workflow could apply here. And at first glance, I didn't like it at all, and I definitely didn't like it for that particular use case. It relied heavily on their notebooks and the way you could structure pages and subpages within a notebook, and that functionality disappeared in this new version. However, as I investigated further, what I discovered was that the way they've laid out the tasks in a project in this new version enables you to actually replicate that same workflow just using tasks instead of notebooks, and I want to show you what I mean. So if we click over here to Active Collab, and once you take an account, you'll get a unique URL for your particular company, right? So you'll set it up under your company, and then you, of course, set up an infinite number of projects within a company. And there's different pricing plans, so I'm not going to get into that. You can obviously, just go in and check on their website for their pricing, which I'm sure will change over time. But what I want to show you is that I love how you can create different task lists and then, of course, assign the tasks to people and then assign due dates. And based on that, on my right-hand side here where it's now blank, you'll start to see it fill in with information. So let's add a task list. And let's just say I have newsletter as one task list. Boom, you can already see the task list show up here. Then let's add another task list, and let's call it private sessions. There it is there. Now let's add a task. And of course, if I add a task here, it's just a task. It's not going to any particular list. But right over here, I can choose to assign it to a list, or I can go right into that list and directly add a task. And notice there's no option because I clicked in the specific area that assigns it to this list. So there's no option to assign it to a list. So write a weekly newsletter. Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. Of course, I can attach files. I can upload files. I can choose subscribers. Subscribers would be other people that I've invited to collaborate with me on this project, and I want them to get notified, A, that I've created the task, and B, if and as we create the task, I want to go in there and post comments. I can write a comment. Anybody who's listed as a subscriber here will be notified anytime a comment is made. And you can mention people too. So I can mention myself since I'm the only one in this project right now. But that will also for sure trigger a notification, go to their email inbox and let them know there's something for them to do. And I love this aspect of going to the cloud and cloud software in general, because what it means is I'll get these emails, and some people might find it annoying. I don't, because those emails are throwaway emails. Right? I get the email and I leave it in my inbox until such time as I've actually clicked over and addressed whatever it is I'm being asked to do. Then I can delete that email. There's no reason under the sun for keeping those email notifications. It's just there as a reminder that I have something to follow up on in here. But more importantly, what that also means is rather than put the information that I will ultimately find in this task or in this discussion here, rather than put that information in an email, it's permanently preserved here in the context of the project or task that I'm working on. And I love that because even if I've deleted that email and later on I remember, hey, there was something I needed to do, I don't have to search through 100 emails, I have something that's much easier to find because it's laid out in proper context, and I can go in and find this task and read the discussion and figure out what it was that I wanted to do, address, follow up on, what have you. So that's what I love about this. Now, let's go set a due date. I'll set it for today, the day that I'm recording this. It's Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day, September 7th, 2015, and I'll assign it to me. And then I'll click Add Task, and I want you to focus your attention on the right there. Oop, I need a task name. So I'll just say, hi, Mom. Boom. Now that you've focused your attention on the right there, notice now that I've got something with a due date associated, the filters come up as if and as they're needed. So now I have one item that's overdue. I have one not set, and I love that because now I can click here and I can see what didn't I set a due date for, and I can quickly go in, and if I click on the task title, it'll take me into the task. This is a quick menu, a quick pop-up where I can quickly go in and say, hey, let's set this due date for this coming Friday. And boom, and now it's no longer, now I no longer have anything that's not set, right? So that's powerful. Then over here, assignees, I have unassigned. So I have a task that's not assigned. I can click that filter, come over here and say, let's make sure everything should be assigned to somebody. And now, of course, that goes away. So that is what I love about this active collab. And you'll see as you fill in more and more information, these filters become very powerful. And right now we're not seeing any tasks because it's still technically filtered for those tasks that don't have somebody assigned. So if I add in a new task, and these are little things that I know they're working on. In fact, I use this feedback option often, and they always get back to me. So when I add in another unassigned task, the filter reappears, and I can remove it so that I can get back to a filtered list. Then, of course, I can simply delete this task, move to trash. So that's a little workaround real quick until they fix that bug, but I can guarantee you it'll be fixed probably within a week of when I'm recording this. So they're actively working on this. This is brand new, but it's so cool. I love this for managing my task. And as I mentioned in the write-up, the newsletter that you received that led you here, I love the fact that the experience is the same on the mobile device. At first it wasn't. The tasks didn't render nicely on a mobile phone. They did on a tablet. And I wrote them that feedback, and not that they're caring so much about what I say, but I'm sure others had the same feedback, so that they fixed it. Originally, the task would sort of wrap so that you had, like, write a weekly newsletter would be one long little column going downwards. So that's been fixed. And that, my friends, is why I love Active Collab for managing my tasks and to-dos. I've done it in Evernote forever, but Evernote isn't really built for this. Yes, you can have notes with checklists, and those work really well, and I've loved those for a long time, and I have daily notes, but what was happening was those daily notes were accumulating, and then I was having to reorganize the note very similar to what I'm doing here with different sections based on what the tasks were for. Were they for School of Bookkeeping? Were they for Nerd Enterprises? You know, those kinds of things were getting a little clunky in terms of how I was managing them in Evernote. And again, I'm going to stress, there's, 7 different ways I could have done it in Evernote. I can use tags to describe the different projects that they're for. All in all, I've just for a while now found myself wanting to find a better solution for managing my tasks and to-dos, and that's what I've done here. So I have a project, of course, for every client that I'm spending time on, and where there's a lot of task management to be done. And I also have a project that I call Main, which is my main project, and that's kind of like my high-level overview. And within that, I have a task list called Client Tasks. So that might be where I'd put a reminder that I have to go into a client project to follow up on stuff there. So these are the things that I'm doing. This is how I'm constantly evolving. I'm playing with new tools and toys. To me, they are kind of like toys. I love to play with these things, but ultimately for the purpose of learning them, so that I can pass that knowledge along to you and hopefully help you improve the productivity, efficiency, and most importantly, the effectiveness of what you're doing in your business. As always, I hope that you'll reach back out to me, hit reply on the newsletter, ask me your questions. I'd love to get them. Better yet, if you're inclined to, sign up for a one-on-one session with me where I can really provide you with some deep dive type help on exactly how you might use something like this in your own business. As always, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the web.